It's Vicky. So recently I went to go watch this film, Crazy Rich Asians.
Right. We've been dating for over a year now, and I think it's about time people met my beautiful girlfriend.
And I came out of the theatre with a couple of thoughts. Firstly, you've probably heard about this film, unless you've been living under a rock. Or you're not Asian. Because if you're white or any other race, this probably doesn't matter to you. You probably don't really care. After all, it's a silly rom-com, right? But it does matter. And it's meant a lot to the Asian community out there. Here's why. So Crazy Rich Asians is a peek into the world of the insanely wealthy in Singapore through the eyes of Rachel Chu, the protagonist.
So your family is rich?
We're comfortable.
That is exactly what a super rich person would say.
So Rachel's not crazy rich and she doesn't know her boyfriend of 1 year, Nick Young, is and is Singapore's ultimate bachelor.
The Nick you're dating is Nick Young?
Yeah, you guys know them or something?
Hells yeah.
The film deals with class tensions, raises some very valid points about the differences between Asian culture and Western culture, like the idea of family first versus putting our own happiness at the forefront, and includes the age-old trope of the disapproving future mother-in-law.
You will never be enough.
But that all makes it sound a little bit more intellectual than it really is. If you're not an English nerd like me, Crazy Rich Asians is basically a fun, colourful film that doesn't take itself too seriously. So first of all, Crazy Rich Asian portrays Asian characters like normal human beings, just like you and me. So there are no stereotypical Asian tropes, no one's doing kung fu, not one character is praised for their extraordinary ability for math. I've been waiting for this film since I read the book at the start of the year, so a couple of months now. And I knew that it was a fully Asian cast. But as I was sitting in that cinema, it really hit me. So there's this scene where Rachel and her mom are just doing really normal mother-daughter things. So they've gone clothes shopping and they're picking up this dress for Rachel to wear when she meets Nick's parents, right? And I just kind of started tearing up. Like, I had to hold myself back. And I was sitting there and I was like, what's wrong with me? It wasn't an emotionally charged scene at all, but I was just so overwhelmed by seeing such a normal action being portrayed on screen with people who looked like me in a way that I could directly relate to my own relationship with my mum. Because that's what I do when I'm with my mum. We go clothes shopping, right? Take this scene from Lady Bird, for example.
You are so infuriating. Oh, it's perfect. Do you love it?
Lady Bird's this film that's meant to show just an average girl and her very normal, relatable struggles. And this is the kind of activity that maybe if you're white and you're watching this, you kind of take for granted because you see it all the time. Why is it important to portray Asians doing everyday things? So I'm from Auckland and we have a pretty decent amount of multiculturalism going on there. But when I moved to Melbourne and I met some of my friends here who are from rural areas of Australia, I was shocked to find out that they'd never talked to an Asian person before in their life. They'd never met an Asian person from where they were from because Asian people just weren't there, right? It was not a place that was populated by Asians. And that's not their fault. But it begs the question of when you don't see any Asian people in real life who are just normal, everyday people, and the only times you do see Asians is on your TV screen through some misrepresentation of the Asian race, then your only idea of Asians is going to be formed by that Asian nerd or by the crouching tiger, hidden dragon character. It's the same with all kinds of races and all kinds of cultures that are represented or not represented on screen. Therefore, you can't actually form that idea that they're just people with normal problems and normal lives. So my second point is that the film manages to portray Asian men as desirable. So maybe you aren't even aware that this is an issue, but with Asian men, they're always seen as like the butt of the joke. Asian men in media are very emasculated and don't really get the opportunity to have the leading man role. So this film doesn't do that. In fact, I think it kind of overcorrects to an extent. So the first scene where we're introduced to one of the characters, Astrid's husband, Michael, we literally don't even see his face. The scene is just of his torso and his muscles in the shower being hit by glistening drops of water. And then multiple times throughout the movie, it's emphasized how hot Nick is, played by Henry Golding. And all of this contributes to destroying the idea that Asian men can't be attractive or appealing or carry a film as the romantic lead. On a side note, it's a little disappointing to see that the casting directors didn't trust the audiences enough to allow the male lead to be a fully Asian person. I don't want to get crap about, how half Asians are Asian people too. Like, that's very true, but generally, people who are half Asian, like you're Asian, like Henry Golding is, are more accepted and aren't as emasculated as full Asian men are, and they're typically perceived as quite attractive people. So it's not that much of a leap for a half Asian guy to be cast as the romantic lead. It would have been more impressive to me if they were able to cast a fully Asian person. But Henry Golding did a fantastic job. So the third point, which I've already briefly touched on, is the fact that it's such a big budget film. So there is a lot of pressure for this movie to do well. And it has, thank God. It's been at the top of the box office for a couple of weeks now. Overall, according to Wikipedia, it's made around $170 million. And the consequences of that mean that hopefully we see more representation of Asians in the media. All the people behind the movie knew how important this film was.
The movie's bigger than all of us.
It's a cultural marker. Everybody's gonna remember this movie.
I've heard lots of people talk about how growing up they felt like they never saw an Asian character on screen and they could never really relate to the characters because they didn't look like them. And to be honest, I never really consciously felt that when I was growing up, when I was a kid. I always knew that I was a bit more biased towards the Asian characters that I did see on screen. And in the same month that Crazy Rich Asians came out, so did another great film on Netflix, To All the Boys I Loved Before, which has an Asian actress as the protagonist. And you know what? She's great. And I felt she was very relatable to me specifically. I was like, Lara Jean, I see you, I feel you. And I don't know if that's because she was a well-written character with a fantastic actress portraying her, or maybe because she was Asian and I saw myself in her. Movies like To All the Boys I Loved Before or Crazy Rich Asians, anyone can relate to the stories that they're telling. The whole cast could be replaced with white people or Hispanic people or whatever, and it'd still be relatable to everyone. Because who can't relate to a difficult mother-in-law? Who can't relate to feeling out of place or like a fish out of water? And who can't relate to being in a fake relationship in order to hide the fact that you're in love with your sister's boyfriend? Super relatable themes going on. The fact that it's been such a wild success means that hopefully there are more opportunities for Asian actors out there. I have friends in the entertainment industry and I just want them to be able to achieve their dreams, right? There are so few opportunities for Asian actors and actresses, and it's really hard, especially because traditionally the entertainment industry isn't really something that an Asian parent is going to be super supportive of. So if you're an Asian kid wanting to be an actor out there, you not only have to convince casting directors and the world out there that you can do it, but you gotta convince your parents as well. Gemma Chan said something really interesting in an interview about her journey as an actress.
My dad said to me, it doesn't matter how good you are or how talented you are, but how many faces do you see on the screen that look like ours?
And I think that sums it up pretty nicely. If you don't see Asian actors out there, you feel like it's not achievable for you. It's a cycle, right? Most of the time, the writers out there aren't writing for an Asian character, so you miss out on a lot of opportunities as an Asian actor or actress. And no big movie production company is going to want to invest so much money in a movie with characters that they don't think audiences will respond to. So the more we see Asians succeeding in the media, the more parts there will be for them. So my fifth point is that the movie celebrates being Asian, and I think that's so great. Yes, Asians are portrayed like anybody else, but it'd be a bit wrong to portray them as completely culturally blank. There's a very significant scene where the characters are making dumplings and they talk about how great it is to pass along that culture from one generation to the next. If you're a kid and you're really impressionable, you're going to go watch this film and you're going to be like, maybe being Asian and taking dumplings to school wasn't so bad after all. I definitely remember not wanting to take Asian food to school when I was a kid. Not because I thought people would make fun of me, just because I didn't really want to be different.
Mom, no, I don't want Chinese lunch. I want white people food. The kids at school will get used to it.
If you're an Asian living in a Western culture, there's probably been a period of your life where you've rejected your Asian heritage in order to assimilate. But that doesn't mean getting rid of your Asian culture. It wasn't until I moved away from home where I started really celebrating my Asian culture as well. Like recently I've learned how to make dumplings, and over the last 4 years since being away from home I've learned how to cook lots of dishes that my mum and dad make. And this year, since I moved out with housemates that are white, I've really enjoyed sharing my culture. And I think that the way this film has portrayed being Asian is very desirable and very cool. Is really encouraging to a lot of people who may be watching it, who might not feel that way about their culture. There's one scene where the characters are having this very lavish lunch, and Jeong says to the kids, "You have to eat all your food, there are starving kids in America."
I'm hungry.
Which subverts the idea that Asians are to be pitied. Seeing Asian faces out there makes a huge difference. I can only wonder how different I would be if I grew up seeing lots of Asian actors on TV. Maybe I would have started celebrating my Asian culture a lot earlier. Maybe I would have had a lot more delicious lunches. So that's it. Those are my 5 points. Overall, I really enjoyed the film, and even if you're not Asian, I would really highly recommend you go check it out. Because like I said, it's a really fun film, and I think anyone could enjoy it. If you have any comments, I'd love to hear from you. Maybe this film meant as much to you as it meant to me. Please leave a comment down below. Also hit the subscribe button, because I reckon I'm going to post a couple more videos in the upcoming weeks. Alright, thanks for watching.